Good morning, air miners. All right. We got tons of people coming in from all around the world, it looks like. Sam's here. Hey, Vita. Stacy's here. Hey, hello. David Snyder's here. I got a call from David last week. Hey, Vita. All right, Kevin's here. Hey, everybody, welcome. We're just going to give it a couple minutes for people to arrive. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
Hey. Hey, Yan. All right, Stacy says hi in the chat.
What's new, Tito?
Hey, there's a lot new. That's what today's all about. I just was hanging out at Stanford last night. We did the first Bay Area carbon removal hangout, and it was packed. Like everybody who said they would be, it was like 40 people signed up and 35 people were there. It was just like people were like, Bay Area, let's go. A lot of people were like, yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a long time and that sort of thing. So actually, if anybody wants to host like local carbon removal meetups, now is a really good time to do it. I think there's a lot of value in like getting the local groups together for people to just kind of talk like, at conferences it's one thing, but like just a little bit more like consistent, more, hey, what's actually happening behind the scenes with you. So if anybody wants to do that, just shoot me an email. And I'm happy to help advertise it or blast it out to the Air Myers community so that you too can host your local carbon removal community. So let's get started. Welcome, everybody. We have a great group of Air Miners community folks here today. So going back to like why air miners exist. Air miners exists for to remove 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide from the sky by 2030 for the purpose of a balanced climate and a thriving human civilization. That's the whole point. And given the pullback in venture capital funding, given the pullback in federal funding in the United States for carbon removal, um, I wanted to make this time for this is a time for startup founders to hear about what's actually working, right? As some things are not working, some things are working, but looking back over the last month, kind of dialing in, well, what are the things that seem to be working right now? This goes back to, I mean, the early stages of when we first launched our Launchpad Accelerator 14 batches ago now. It was really about, getting the community together, getting founders together and saying, look, what is working? And it was through that we started to discover teams were, selling a couple tons of carbon and then being able to go to investors and really leverage that to raise money for the company. So you're able to find by looking at what's working and what's not working, you can find, what is the path that's working for somebody. So I've got 4 examples. These are all things from the last 30 days that I wanted to share with you. And then I'd love for other folks to come up and you can just unmute and turn on your video and just share, what's something that you found is working. And it can start, really specific. What is it? What is it for your company? And then, what do you think what's kind of the bigger trend that might be there? And so I'll demo that with these four hot things that have been happening in carbon removal land. So first off, Frontier announced a purchase last week on the 14th, and they're buying $1.7 million of carbon removal credits from 3 companies. LimeNet is one of our graduates, so I'm gonna highlight them. And the thing I wanted to point out here is the bigger picture and the bigger trend that I'm noticing is, Frontier and these larger buyers are really, when we think about like what is the second wave of carbon removal, it's looking like the first wave of carbon removal players are going to play a really big role in that. And so, as I was talking with teams, some people are like, well, Frontier kind of did its thing, and now we're kind of looking for other buying opportunities. I'd encourage you to continue applying to Frontier. they're still really the leader in making these purchases, especially from early stage companies. So that's a win for LimeNet and also for anybody else that's in carbon removal. If you've applied for 3 years in a row, apply for a fourth year. Like it's really, these buyers like Frontier, and I'd include Microsoft in that as well. They are so big and they are so active, and they have incredible teams of people they're doing all the diligence on this. And so if you can get a deal with them, that's really a game changer. So that's kind of the bigger picture behind this LimeNet purchase. Here's another purchase. This is from Oliver Wyman. This is buying credits from Plan Boo. Plan Boo specializes in working with biochar producers and creating a marketplace and MRV platform for those folks. And Oliver Wyman is the interesting thing about Oliver Wyman from a founder perspective is this is now they're making a 3 year purchase of more than 2,000 tons, but they started with 10 tons in their first year. And so I got to meet Lauren Wiley from Oliver Wyman during SF Climate Week, and we hosted a panel for carbon credit buyers. She was on the panel and just talked about, for her it was, going back to at the beginning of their fiscal year, she had been pitching the CEO on we should be buying some carbon removal credits. And then as it got to the end of the year, there was a month left in the year, and the CEO came back and said, like, okay, let's do this now. And she was like, are you kidding me? Like, it's the end of the year. Like, we only have a month to do this, to figure this out. And for that first year, they made a purchase of 10 tons. It ended up being from Charm Industrial, because I think it was local, it was like down the street, and they could go see it and make sure that it was real. And that was the diligence process for like that first 10-ton purchase. And then now, I think it's 2 years later. I think this is their third year of purchasing. Now they're purchasing 2,000 tons from Plan Boo. And so the bigger story there is building on there's Frontier and there's Microsoft. On the other hand, you can find organizations like Oliver Wyman who might start out purchasing 10 tons, but then you're getting that internal buy-in, you're helping grow the story within the company, and then you can start getting these larger offtake deals. So that's the story there. Next, I want to highlight ARCA's. They got ISO approval for their mineralization methodology. The exciting thing here is it just really shows there's this larger industrial buy-in and industrial kind of run for, look, carbon removal is something that in this case mining companies can really get behind, and having that kind of ISO level methodology and certification is just something that it's an interface that larger companies and larger industrial companies can tie into. So that's a big win. And if you have something like that in the works, make sure to leverage that to get news and to get the word out about your company, because developing these new methodologies is a big deal. Okay, last one is these are a new batch of MilkyWire purchases. MilkyWire, of course, has been one of the leaders in making these pre-purchases, these smaller purchases from really up-and-coming companies. They did 15 purchases, and let's see, is that 8 of them are directly Air Miners Launchpad graduates. So really good alumni performance there, really exciting. And then that, again, that goes back to kind of that first example with Frontier and Microsoft and MilkyWire. Like the established players are making purchases. They know what they're doing. They have really good diligence teams. If you're a founder, looking to get your company off the ground, those programs are make sure they're on your list. And those are the examples that I wanted to give folks. And next, I'd love to invite anybody up who wants to share one of their own examples of something that happened with their company, or even something you saw in the news. Share what it is, and then what you think the bigger picture is. And if you'd like to go, you can just come off mute and come on video. Yeah, and I saw you're unmuting. Are you you got something you want to share? Maybe not.
Hello,
Hey, Marshall.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. What would you like to share with the Air Mariners community?
Well, our group back in 2015 participated in a multi-university IBI program in which we did circular mining in Spain, and we're ramping up to do circular mining around the world. There, people can go to the Green Carbon webinar series and look up circular mining, and they'll see our presentation on that.
Cool. For those of us here, what is circular mining?
So circular mining is a the ability to take mine tailings and clean them up along with the water. There's about seven basic fundamental mining capabilities, and a lot of these capabilities are commingled. So you can have a multiplier effect of the types of mining properties. And so what we do is we take, depending on the mining property, we take the mines and we clean up the tailings and the water. A lot of people use arsenic in the mining process, which is highly toxic to people, and it gets people sick and can cause all sorts of problems. So we're cleaning that up. We're doing it the government of Zambia has asked us to clean up three depleted copper mines. And we're going to be doing that soon. And we're going to be doing some other mining in Nevada, gold and silver mines. The beauty of this approach is that you're using biochar, particularly to clean up the toxins and recover them. And you can, like, for instance, we've taken arsenic and recovered it and turned it back into powder and sold it back into the marketplace. But the more important part is you can take the minerals. I mean, when people do mining, the tailings are what's left over. That's the waste, and only 10 to 30% of that is minerals. And so if it's gold, you can recover the gold and sell it on the London Metal Exchange, and that's what we're approaching to do.
Awesome. Super cool. Can you unpack the how's the carbon removal side of it going? So it sounds like you're able to use biochar, effectively like mine minerals. What's the carbon removal story like there?
Well, it depends on each mine. It's like, how biochar is not all biochars are equal, right? So, so the same thing is with mines. So when you recover them, you can recover, you can get, I guess you can get carbon credits out of it. We're not too interested. I mean, we're interested in the carbon credits, but in fact, Pure.Earth about 4 months ago asked me to participate with them in getting carbon credits regulated, because right now it's an open market. It's not regulated. So we haven't focused so much on that, but for the carbon removal, the CDR, we're looking into that, and we're getting the numbers on that. Our approach is totally science based. So we don't do anything just by saying we're doing it. We have to prove that we're doing it.
Awesome. Thanks for that update, Marshall.
You're welcome.
Super interesting to hear about the using biochar as a mining mechanism, and then tying it into that those pro discussions. I encourage people if you're getting invited to participate in those discussions with pro, always take those opportunities. All right. Anybody else who has an update they want to share, something they've discovered in the last couple months?
Sure, I'll share.
Hey, Michael.
How are you, Tito?
Good to see you. Congratulations on the deal with
Frontier.
Frontier. Yeah, that's terrific.
I was just going to say that this last 6 months has been pretty crazy, but we've managed to build. Oh, you're in there. I missed the start of it.
Yeah,
Oh, I did.
that's one of the big updates. Frontier, that's you guys, and so LimeNet, Carbonetic, and
Yeah.
Phantom. Nice work, Michael.
Thank you. I guess the idea there is we have a road to go to deliver them. We need to increase efficiency of our system. We need to get through regulatory passage because we are putting bicarbonate in the ocean in Nova Scotia. And we have an R&D program around catalysis that is now going to be collaborative with non-dilutive funding. So very interesting. It was great to see my colleague Alistair Jarvis bring Isometric on board. So we now have a protocol with Isometrics. It's amazing. It's amazing the number of Favreau cards you have to knock off to be able to deliver on this promise.
Really? Can you, for those who aren't familiar with your method, could you talk a bit about how you guys remove carbon?
Sure. So Isometrics has called it engineered enhanced weathering. We have a reactor-based accelerated weathering of limestone process that's connecting to flue gas from biomass energy, putting the CO2 in seawater. So this is a coastal play, converting it to carbonic acid, and then the acid in a slurry of limestone in our process, the acid's neutralized by limestone, which produces another bicarbonate plus calcium. An innovation, we've neutralized the material before we release it, so we overcame a problem with the process. So we catch that CO2 after neutralization and put it back through, and we release neutralized bicarbonate, calcium, and calcium carbonate, which looks like it probably will help shellfish because we're corrosive here in summers. And the credits will pay for sustainable forestry waste that can pass the sustainability criteria. So very excited.
Awesome. Thanks for the update. I'm curious. So since we have a lot of founders here, how open are you to some like foundery type questions about your business?
Go ahead. Hi,
So
Vita.
when you're thinking yeah, hey Vita, go Canada, by the way. Go and also Nova Scotia in particular. What so you mentioned getting isometric, and you have this new deal with Frontier.
Yeah.
What was the timing with those two things? Did you get isometric first, or the Frontier deal first, or what was the timing there?
Well, we didn't get Frontier last year for a very different project, which didn't materialize. So, you build it as you go, but we weren't selected last year.
What
And
was the
this year,
project? What was the project?
it was converting a coal-fired plant in New Brunswick to biomass using their sulfur dioxide remover,
Wow.
releasing it there. But government, big projects. So we pivoted, and now we are all about biomass heat. So it's a coastal biomass energy solution for CDR.
Awesome. What a pivot.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds me of the session we did with Shantanu from Monte Carbon, where he said, hey, when the X Prize started, I worked at a direct air capture company. And then now, as winner of the X Prize, we're working on a rock weathering company. So I acknowledge you for pivoting. And I think, in 2025, that's the name of the game is, find where you can get traction. And that's what I win. Okay. So going back to that question on timeline.
So the isometrics started about 9 months ago, I think, in earnest. And there were pieces of protocol that were there, but they were never all brought together into one that covers bicarbonate in the ocean. OAE is there, but it's a different play. So I expect that was 9 months, and it was pretty deep dive on obviously with Frontier at the same time because they overlapped. It's, how do you get to $100 a ton? Essentially, where do you get there? What's the solution? And like, when do you start delivering? And it's interesting because the Isometrics was very concerned about the forest side. Obviously, supply chain, and they dug into the limestone side too. So we are a resource company. We are securing those resources, but we have to do them in a way that is sustainable and is recognized as such.
Awesome. How valuable was it to be in conversation with Isometric while you were talking to Frontier?
Great. Like, I must say, Alistair has been doing this for a while. Alistair started a carbon capture company a long time ago, Woods Camp. It was actually managing forests that was sold, local forests that was sold to a US organization that creates carbon credits in forests. So he's been there. But it really was important to line up the two that, we had to have the isometrics bar to hit before we were really ready to tell Frontier where everything was.
Awesome. Thanks for that. It sounds like having those two things in parallel, having the isometric kind of leading gives you the ability to answer all those questions from the Frontier side. Thanks for that. Um,
But
I did see there's one other question from Jordan in the chat. Are you able to use biomass energy to power the pulverizing of the limestone? Michael, that was a question for you.
um, it ends up being much too expensive to do that. It uses too much energy if we are, um, but yes, we can, but we got to find a way for this pulverization to small size, how to cut this energy. But it does, what we're doing now is all heat. So when we start driving electricity uh, partnerships, then we'll be able to look at that.
Okay, awesome. Michael, I'm so glad you were here. This totally worked out.
Well, thank you, Tito, for the invite.
Yeah,
No
you got it.
longer, no longer VC.
Say more about that.
Well, I was a clean tech VC for 10 years. And I was coming in here looking for pipeline in the day. And we tried to start a fund that was totally focused on CDR that was going to share with our founders and the whole bit. And we were unable to raise that money. That's when one of the partners said, I'm starting Fathom, see ya. And now the other partner, John Sari, is heading out to Vancouver. He's moving to join a fund. So we'll probably be hearing from him.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for that detail, just in the sense of, filling out this picture of you open up the news, you see this headline with Phantom and Frontier, and hearing, well, look, here's all the different things that actually came together to make that happen. Yeah, I mean, I think last time we talked, that was you were raising that fund. So now here you are
Yep.
popping up with Phantom. Awesome. We've got time
Fathom.
for, what was it? Oh,
Fathom.
Fathom. What did I say? Phantom?
Yes, I get a lot.
Really? Phantom. Fathom. Jeez.
Yay.
Awesome. If
Okay.
anybody else has any other updates they want to share, we've probably got time for a quick one before we wrap. Or open-ended. If anybody else just has something they want to share with the Air Myers community, we're open to that. Oh, let's see. Somebody put something in the chat. Oh, Sam's on the train from Hive Geo. He says, we're doing a pilot with a state-owned company in the Middle East. Our big learning was storytelling. We're doing biochar for soil regeneration, and soon saw some stakeholders care more about the soil bit than the carbon dioxide removal bit. So still doing both, but telling a story that resonates helps a lot. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that Sam. That listening to what people are saying is valuable to them and what's important to them. That can help you then position that story so that it's something that they say, oh yeah, this is actually really good for us. Awesome. Thanks for that, Sam. David Snyder asks, anybody else going to the Oceans 2025 conference in Chicago in September? Sounds like that's happening. Stacy just had a 125 person CDR Symposium at the University of Calgary. Stacy, do you want to come on and tell us about how that went? Span engineering, law, political science, and history. That is super cool.
Hey guys, how's it
Hey,
going?
Stacy. Good. Great to see you.
Good. It's good to see you guys too. Yeah, we just had a big CDR symposium that went really well. It was our first big project symposium, and we kept it small at 125 people to just make sure that there was lots of conversations happening. There were breakout rooms. We had bankers in the room. And like lots of law professors, law in around CDR in Canada, and multitude of engineering from BECS, DAC, and enhanced mineralization, mining, agriculture, and also looking at the underground storage potential in Alberta, which is quite high. So it was a really good symposium that spanned a bunch of different areas, and we had lots of great discussions. And everyone came out of it feeling really energized and feeling like they would like it to be a bigger, even more comprehensive event next year. So that's what we're planning on.
Awesome. Terrific. And
Yeah,
Stacy, if people are interested in joining next year or collaborating in some way, what's a good way to get in touch with you?
I'm gonna put our website in the chat.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Stacy. Glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too. Bye, guys.
And then let's see, Zachary, you're on video. Do you want to share your update?
Yeah, I'm really
Hey,
excited.
what's up?
Hey man, what's up? Yeah, yeah, we've gone
I love
from
car updates for what it's worth. Like all the best updates are always people in cars.
yeah, just driving. Yeah. No, I am so thankful to air miners. I mean, in like 1 year, we've gone from zero to actually having a deployed enhanced rock weathering project in Washington State. We've got support from Organic Valley and on this because they want to be carbon negative by 2035. And what's really cool is as we're doing this project, we're using Everest sensors, 0x sensors. Is we're starting to get a lot of interest from researchers in the area. So not only OSU, University of Washington, University of Copenhagen, but a lot of people are now interested in like doing soil science on our small little 20-acre project, and seems to be gaining like kind of a lot of interest and traction. So that's really cool. And hoping we can make the next round to expand the project to 400 acres. So hopefully I can raise some money, but I really think I'm really hoping to be able to prove that we can lower MRV costs using new techniques in this homogeneous soil with great hydrology, and prove that the Pacific Northwest is a great spot for enhanced rock weathering. So I'm just really excited on the traction there.
Freaking awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the update and congratulations on all the traction. It's really wonderful to hear.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to reach out and ask questions in the enhanced rock weathering world, we're totally open with our data and love to collaborate, and we make this all better together. So thanks to everybody.
Awesome. Great. I know you're really active on AirMiner's Slack, so if folks want to chat, that's a good place to reach out. Kevin, I saw you unmuted. Do you have a quick
I
update?
did,
We
yeah.
got
I
1 minute.
just wanted to let the community know we are interested in looking at investments that do carbon capture as a secondary benefit. So someone mentioned that earlier, how they're getting traction primarily maybe from the soil enhancement versus the carbon side. We're actively exploring and looking for investments in that area, which we call carbon capture with benefits. If anybody has something they'd like to share, we'd love to look at it. I'm at Congruent Ventures. I'll put my email in the chat here.
Awesome. Glad you're here, Kevin. And good to see you. Okay, folks, that's the update. If you have friends who are starting new companies, if you're starting a new company, we've got the next batch of AirMiners Launchpad coming up. The applications are closing soon, but you can check out our website, airminers.com/accelerate, to hear more about the accelerator. We've had 200 graduates, raised $250 million. We just had Monte Carbon win the grand prize for the Carbon Removal X Prize. So you're among friends who have sold to MilkyWire and Frontier and Google, the whole works. So share about that, and I look forward to seeing you all. I'm going to be doing these regularly, so I'll see you at the next What's Hot in Carbon Removal. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you, Michael.
Bye-bye.